and revisit the COVID-19, because that, you ran on very strongly on the border. That was a single issue for you. The pandemic hadn't happened. Biden ran strongly on COVID-19. Yet I'm learning from Chad Wolf, your former acting DHS secretary, and Democrats as well, that people are crossing the border, and sometimes we can test them and sometimes we can't. So as a former president, you know a lot of details that we don't have access right now to, because we haven't had our first solo news conference with Biden. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions just from a president's perspective. Title 42, what would it do to stem the tide in terms of COVID-19 right now? And is it being applied in your estimation? You created that.
I love this argument. Like, the president who fucking denied COVID's existence and like did everything in his fucking power to deal with it in the worst way possible was actually doing a great job dealing with COVID by, implementing anti-immigrant policies. Like, it's great. It's so good. The only way to stop COVID is by, making sure that Texas can fucking do like no mask mandates and shit like that, while also simultaneously saying like immigrants shouldn't be coming over the border.
They're applying nothing. They're not doing Title 42 or any title. People are just pouring into our country, and they will destroy our country. They will destroy our country. You can't take millions of people. They'll have millions of people before this mess is over. And they've got some kind of a political theory, I guess, that it's a good thing. Maybe. I don't think it is. I think it's a very bad thing for our country. Again, we want people to come in, but they have to be able to help our country. They have to come in through merit, and they have to come in legally. Right now, you don't have anything protecting our country. You have.
The irony, of course, is whenever people say they have to come in legally, if your counter is, okay, make it legal for them to come over the border, then they're like, not like that, though. Like, okay. Yeah, no, I agree. They should legally come in. Make the process so that it is super easy and super rapid and super fast to be able to come into the country legally. No, not like that. That's not cool. Don't do that. Yeah, I agree. Undocumented immigration could create a harm, let's say, in our country. Then make it legal. Hassan, your home country is making it easier for women to be abused. Yes, we're going to talk about that in a little bit. The irony, of course, of that sentiment is that like you're making it seem as though Turkish people are not fucking super mad at the Erdogan regime, including myself, just like I'm mad at Donald Trump and even Joe Biden all the goddamn time. I find it really hilarious that like conservatives are so fucking stupid that they, one, cannot comprehend criticizing their own government, especially when their own government is implementing conservative policies, and then they can't comprehend like someone coming from a different country being super critical of their home country. It's so stupid. It's so incredibly fucking stupid.
People just flowing through, coming through. And they're so, the numbers are so vast. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. They said 20 years. I'll bet you it's maybe forever. Maybe it's, from the beginning of this whole mess. But it's much more than 20 years. They said the worst in 20 years. No, they're going to destroy our country in other ways, too, if you look at what's going on. You're going to have packed the court.
Well, Montana
you're going to have big tax increases. They're going to take your guns away. I mean,
yeah, big tax increases. They're going to take your guns away. Why? Because immigrants are coming in, so they're going to have big tax increases. Yeah, there will actually be an increase in the amount of collected taxes because immigrants will be able to participate in the economy in more significant ways, and therefore more taxes will be paid to the American coffers by these undocumented immigrants, but they're not going to be taking it from the real whites, the real Americans, the whites.
Take a look at what they're doing with, take a look at what's coming up, and I predicted it all. Now, I must say, I never thought that Biden, and it's not Biden, it's other people that are, putting stuff in front of him.
You don't think it's him?
But I never thought that Biden in a million years would be worse. Nobody did. Would be far worse than Bernie Sanders. This is Bernie Sanders on steroids. This is what he's doing with all, and you haven't seen anything yet. So the Second Amendment is going to be obliterated. And there's
So you mean Turkey's economical crisis is because of USA's treatment of Turkey? Wait, what? Why am I reading dumbasses, dude? Okay, shut up. Shut up, stupid person.
no stopping them, and our leadership, Mitch, isn't strong enough to stop people. Never was. That's like one of the big secrets. But he had the majority. But now that he's not in the majority, he's not doing his thing. He's not doing what he should be doing. There are ways to stop some of this stuff that's happening, but you're going to see packing the courts. You're going to see the biggest tax increase in history. You're going to see the Second Amendment just absolutely obliterated. You're going to see many other things. The Green New Deal will be put into effect. And people used to laugh at it when it was proposed 3 years ago by people that knew nothing about the environment, by the way. And they're going to raise taxes to a level, and they're going to spend a lot of the money foolishly on Green New Deal stuff that doesn't work.
I want to ask my team to put up a couple of numbers, and we're showing some information for our viewers, Mr. President, as you were talking and matching up a little bit. You were talking about the surge at the border. Let's go back to southwest border. Adults up 188%. And unaccompanied minors, I want to talk about the children, because that's the mark against our soul. And your administration took criticism because we were taking in and they were getting separated from the adults at the border. And you see that, everybody on the screen, 92% increase of unaccompanied minors now in 2021 versus 2020. We're only 3 months in. So as we look at the screen, I want to match that now. Mr. President, when you look...
They call him Mr. If you're a president, like, you're always a president. Okay, chat? Just don't get too caught up on that. I say this all the time. Like, it's normal.
Look at these numbers, and you look at what wiped away on the first day of President Biden's administration, an executive order. What exactly were you doing that was working better than what we see now? And I understand that people were flowing over now, but there were some things that you did. You had agreements with Honduras, Ecuador, Guatemala, right, Mexico. I want the audience to understand some of what was wiped away more than just, well, it had my name on it, because those numbers that we're looking at now are a mark against us. Those children, their lives are forever different.
Yeah, you see, Mr. President, what you were doing was great when you ripped children away from their parents on purpose as a deterrence measure. Like, what you did was actually fucking awesome. Instead of allowing those, those coyotes and the cartels to rip children away from their parents, it's good that the American government was doing that. And it was so much better. We should keep doing that. We should go back to doing that instead of the other thing where, we're actually processing these refugees and not ripping them from their parents. I mean, please, why aren't we doing that?
If they make it.
Well, first of all, I mean, the only problem with giving you this answer is you don't have enough time, because
it's great.
You need about 2 hours to explain what we've done. What we did is incredible. But in a nutshell, I do want to start off by saying that they built the cages. They built cages for children. We didn't build them. They built them. And a famous picture appeared about the cages that were built. And then fortunately, somebody remembered. And fortunately, we have guys like Morgan and Tom, how good. I mean, we have such professionals, Tom Homan. We have such great professionals. I watch them on your show. They really know their business, and they're not involved in this. They have people that have no idea, but they built cages in 2014.
They built the cages. We used those cages. Now they're not using the cages. Like, the they built the cages argument fucking literally doesn't work if you're saying it's good. Okay? Like if you're unironically saying, like, it's fucking dope that these cages exist so we can fucking lock children up in them, you can't also use that simultaneously as a bad thing. Like, well, they built the cages, it was bad when they built them, but it was good when we used them. Like, what are you talking about? I will never understand this. I will never fucking understand that they built the cages argument. Thank you, Sir Brane Damouge, for the 5 years sub.
But that was during the Obama administration, and they blamed them on us. We didn't build the cages; they did. Very sad, when they had a picture in the New York Times of children in cages, and it turned out that it was them, and the newspapers didn't want to do retractions, even though now everybody knows that's the fact. But as far as other countries are concerned,
it is literally the dumbest argument you can make, which is, of course, he's saying the Dems are hypocrites, that they know that kids need to be in cages, but they're just angry that Trump did it. Yeah. If he said that, like that, there's a little bit more credence to it, okay? There's a little bit more legitimacy to it. But he's not even fucking saying that. He never says these kids need to be locked in fucking cages. He makes it seem as though, because he understands, saying these kids need to be locked in fucking cages is a ridiculous thing to say. So he's not saying that, and instead he's dancing around the fucking argument because he can't literally say these kids need to be locked in cages. Steven Crowder owned you? Wait, really? When did Steven Crowder, he covered me or something? I heard Steven Crowder can beat you in a debate. He owned you? Don't cry, bro. It's all because of how the show's host set him up by saying kids in cages are a stain upon our nation. I wish you would fucking own me in the marketplace of ideas.
we had Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, and others. We were paying those three countries approximately $500 million a year. Who knows what they were doing with the money? You could imagine. They were supposed to use that money for economic development, keep people there. It all sounds good, but it wasn't being used for that.
The kids were never taken away from the parents. They came along in the first place, you dumbass. Oh, yeah, you're right. So the separation policy that they codified under Donald Trump was actually totally made up. You're right. Thank God for you being here to correct the record.
And people were flowing in, and they wouldn't take.
You should tell that to like the hundreds of kids that were permanently separated from their families. You should be like, hey, dumbass kids. Like, I know you can't. I know you will never ever find your family again, but actually, I don't believe that you came with your family to begin with.
MS-13 gang members back. They wouldn't take anybody back for Obama. They wouldn't do it. They said, nope, don't ever land your plane here. Don't ever bring your buses here. Don't ever send a boat. Nothing. We won't take them back. Turn around. They were turning our people around. They were treating us like amateurs, which is what they were. And so I said, well, they was doing that at the beginning of mine too. I said, so how much money do we pay these countries? $500 million. I said, stop payment. As soon as I stopped payment, all of a sudden they said, we would welcome our MS-13 gang members back into our country. We would welcome.
Yeah, dude, these little kids that are coming with their fucking moms and shit are all MS-13 gang members. Like,
anyway, I got along.
This is the reason they play fast and loose with all this shit, because the reality is horrible. Okay, that's it. The reality is, like, you're locking up kids in fucking cages because you want to make it so that it's as cruel and as harmful to them as possible to cross the border and come into the United States, even if it's to just like fucking seek asylum. And ultimately, you want to justify it by saying like, oh yeah, it's like MS-13 gang members.
Very well with those three countries, and really well with Mexico. The president of Mexico is a friend of mine. He's a great guy.
Excuse me, because I know I'm going to have to let you go soon, but I want to get this in there. Is that part of what's gone? I mean, is Biden maintaining these relationships? We can't do this without the countries south of the border. In fact, we had some video, and we can go back to Tijuana, Mexico.
Yeah, MS-13 actually MS-13 actually stands for mini Salvadorans, the children, as the chatter correctly pointed out. MS, mini Salvadorans, aka the actual kids, the little kids from El Salvador. Yeah.
There are.
And 13 is 0 to 13, like their ages. They're saying it, folks. They're saying it. It's in the name. Mini Salvadoran 13. You have to be under the age of 13 to be a part of this gang.
Tent cities that have set up on the border waiting to get back into the United States.
Yeah.
Waiting
all
to
those
come
people
here
are going to come flooding in. Right. I kept them in Mexico. By keeping them in Mexico, Mexico becomes much tougher at their northern border because they don't want any more. So I said to Mexico, look, if you're going to do any of this stuff that's bad for us, I'm going to put tariffs on all of the cars that you make for the United States, because before my administration, they stole 32% of our automaking business. The unions don't realize that. You know, the union members realize it, but the heads of the unions that all support Democrats, no matter who they are, they don't realize it. But they took 32% of our automobile business. I said, all those cars that you make are going to be tariffed. So Mexico was great. I must tell you, Mexico was great. The relationships
they're not
I
doing
developed
that
were
anymore.
great. Well, no,
I mean,
now
we can tell that they're not doing that
They have
anymore.
a field day. They have people that are rank amateurs. They have people that talk about ideology, but it's not even good ideology. Why would it work? Why are we supposed to take care of the world, and in many cases, the world's criminals? And they're coming over not from the 3 countries plus Mexico. They're coming over now from Yemen. They're coming over from the Middle East. Who the hell knows what we're taking in? These people are destroying our country. I said it was going to happen during the campaign. That's why I got 75 million votes, probably much more than that. And it's a disgrace what's been allowed to happen to our country, and they're persecuting people. They're stopping them from talking. They're stopping free speech, and they're persecuting
let's get into that.
Great Americans.
Let's get into that. Now, let's get into the fact that as media, we cannot get into this border situation, that there is a lid on.
Yeah, that's precisely why the media just simply cannot cover the border situation. That's why MSNBC is like sending a fucking roundtable down to the border to be like, to just basically repeat Republican reactionary talking points over and over again for the past month. That's why the media just simply cannot cover the border situation. Dog, if anything, the media literally went from Donald Trump is personally responsible for murdering immigrant babies to like, we should be murdering some immigrant babies like that. As soon as the fucking administration changed, they literally went from Donald Trump is murdering immigrant children to how many immigrant children should we be murdering because there's a border crisis happening? Like, it is wild. I don't know how the fuck no one is like, I don't know how the fuck boomer liberals who watch news broadcasts on a regular basis do not recognize this. Like, I don't know how so many boomer libs did not notice that fucking quick change in the way that we cover in mainstream media the crisis at the border. How is it any different than the way Fox News was covering the immigrant caravans from Honduras? I literally do not understand how it went from caravan hysteria to liberals doing the exact same thing now to the Joe Biden administration, as Fox News was justifying and legitimizing the cruelty that immigrants were subjected to by saying like, oh, well, you know, these guys are coming in caravans and whatnot.
On us with regard to those facilities. Did your administration ever consider some of the things that the Biden administration is doing, closing down a border? I still don't understand, by the way, Mr. President, how that would even really work if it's so porous the way it is. You can't close it.
Well, that's why you needed the wall. But now I've built almost 500 miles of wall. So it's a much easier situation now. When I took it over, it was a disaster. But I built 500 miles of wall, and now, you know, you have vast sections. I mean, you see some openings, but the openings get closed. That's what the purpose is.
This guy is so funny. And you're promoting it on your show. Shame on you, Hassan. Like, dude, I love like liberalism as a different form of like brain problems, where you just like you say stuff unironically like, why are you platforming Donald J. Trump? Yeah, why am I doing that, man? I can't believe I'm promoting Fox News and also the fucking president, dude. The former president of the United States. I can't believe I'm platforming them.
You have to close them. Those contracts have been given a long time ago. And again, that was to get people through. But these are small openings. But that has to get closed. But the wall has made it so much easier for these people. And frankly, I mean, I even hear they want to tear down the wall, if you can even believe it. Tear down the wall. You know, this is not the way you heard it from Ronald Reagan.